We left off where it says, "V'zehu gam kein b'mareh elav esvado shegam hayediyah shalem." See that place? Everybody see it? Anybody have a sefer?
Wait, what?
Please open your books. We are learning the differences between the nevuah of Moshe Rabbeinu and the nevuah of Shar Nevi'im, and for that matter, the Ruach HaKodesh of Chachamim, and even the Ruach HaKodesh of all of us that we can have. It's different, obviously, different levels in Hisgalus Hashem. And we learned an astonishing chiddush that the Nevi'im, in their nevuah, they often reported, Yeshayahu, Zechariah, Yecheskel, they often reported, we learned the Gemara together, that Reisias Akisei, V'hinei Olav Keturas Kedmus Ben Adam. Even Yaacov Avinu, it says that when he, in his dream dream was a nevuah, when he climbed up the ladder, so he saw the Dmus Yaakov Chakuk ala Kisei. So, what does it mean that they saw the Dmus Adam? So, Reb Tzadok explained that the Kisei HaKavod, which means the place where all neshamas are created, is, when it comes to its geographical location, if that's the right word, there's the world that it's in is in the world of Bria. You have Atzilus, which is like very close to Hashem, Eitzel, and you have the world of Bria, where the creation begins. So the Atzilus is in the world of Kesser. There's no creation going on there. It's just Hashem and that kind of stuff. But the world of Bria is already shaykh to us. That's where the world of Bria. Not that anybody here sees the world of Bria, but that's where it all begins. And the neshamas specifically come from the Kisei HaKavod. So sometime we'll try to understand. We have, like maybe a few months ago, tried to figure out why the kesher between the Brias HaNeshamas and the Kisei HaKavod. But we see this all the time, that neshamas tachas Kisei HaKavod. That's where it's all at. So when the Nevi'im saw their nevuah, so they were only sof kol sof basar v'dam. They were able to see way beyond the world that we live in, which is Asiya, and they were able to even see beyond the world of Yitzira, which is a world of Mazalois and even Malachim. They were able to see beyond. They were able to see into the world of Bria. Yaakov Avinu raw Dmus, saw his own Dmus ala Kisei HaKavod. That's where he saw. He didn't see further than the Kisei HaKavod. He saw the Kisei HaKavod, which we're going to explain in Lefi HaSagaseinu in human terms what that could possibly mean. But he only saw that. So there was a hefsek of Re'iyah by the Kisei HaKavod. So that's a far sight. That's a lot to see, but it's not the whole thing. You're not seeing. You don't have a view of the world of Atzilus. The end of it is the wall. The brick wall is at Bria. And what do you see in the world of Bria? You see your neshama, and you can see the neshamas of Klal Yisrael. You see the world of neshamas at their shirish, at their makar. So that's a lot to see. See, the Ramban in Parshas Kisisa speaks about how the Ramban's in a couple places, but I believe in Parshas Kisisa is the main Ramban, how every Jew had the opportunity in the Midbar to stand in front of Moshe Rabbeinu, Chidus, for, couldn't have been more than a couple of seconds, because millions of Jews. You ever see, I once saw that on Yontiv, when the Hasidim come to Ger, so thousands and thousands and thousands of Hasidim, there's only one Yontiv and one Rebbe, and they have like this like thousands of people kind of standing in this crowd, and the Rebbe sits, and then they like run past the Rebbe. Each one runs past the Rebbe. It's like an interesting thing to see. That's their connection with the Rebbe. It's the best they can do, right? So I just always imagine whenever I saw it twice, whenever I saw it, I always imagined that Moshe Rabbeinu, like it wasn't you sat down or office, have a seat, let's talk. We talk about millions of people. So it was running. But in that second or whatever it might have been, unless there was some miracle that I don't know about, in that second or two that they appeared in front of Moshe Rabbeinu was able to tell them, or maybe they understood, the shorish of their neshama. They understood who they were, and what they should be doing, and what decisions they should be making. It's probably the most valuable piece of information that anybody can have. People are running today to astrologers and to Kabbalim and to, tell me the essence of my soul. Right? So, and none of them really know. People go to all kinds of, okay, you're a Jupiter hitting Mars hard. First box, second box, and not really, the first house, going into we talk, they're not really getting a full picture. Sometimes at the Chacham you can get Chacham Adaf Minavi, because a Chacham can look at the lavush of the neshama. I'm not saying that, I'm saying what Reb Tzadok explains. A Chacham can look at the lavush of the neshama and say, well, you're dressed for, if a person walks in here, if a person would walk in here right now with a bulletproof suit and a machine gun and a helmet and mirror glasses, and so you say, okay, you're not a lawyer. You're not a doctor, you're not coming here to pick up the garbage, you're not the electrician, you're dressed for war. Like you're here to kill somebody or to make sure nobody else gets killed or something. You have something to do with war. So the Chacham Adaf Minavi that can look at even the face of a person and say, this is your lavush, so I can extrapolate backwards and say, this must be your neshama, because HaKadosh Baruch Hu gives a person the lavush that they need to fulfill the tachlis of their neshama. Simple logic. So if you could understand the person's chitzonius, you can easily extrapolate to the person's pnimius. And chitzonius, Reb Nachman Breslover speaks about that he always looked at, there's two kinds of faces in Klal Yisrael. There's the panim pasuach and the panim sagur. He says like this, like you get the Chachmah parts-of, he was able to see who's open, who's closed. What it means, like there was a certain, sometimes you see somebody, you say, this is a person I can trust. So that was like, you don't have to be Reb Nachman, you don't have to be a Navi. Everybody has a little bit of Chachmah parts-of, I think. Right? So you can tell a lot from a person's face. We make mistakes. The real good con artists know how to do the poker face, but the pashtus is Chacham. You could even see more Chacham Adaf Minavi. Can even extrapolate more about the neshama. So when everybody came in front of Moshe Rabbeinu, he was able to tell them the tachlis of the neshama. So the Sfarim say, how did he know? How did he what was that? Was that nevuah? How did he know the per tachlis of every person's neshama? That's a lot of information to hold, because listen to the Gemara. Kishem shepartzufeim einam shavos kach deyoseim einam shavos. Deyos in that case means the neshama, or their midos, or something, but it doesn't mean their das. Kishem shepartzufeim einam shavos. What's it got to do with the partzuf? What's the kishem? What's kishem? What's kishem? Kishem shemavarchen ala toiv, mavarchen ala ra kishem. What's the kishem? The kishem is that just that in the partzuf is the levush. And even in Kabbalah, partzufim is the levush of something inner. So in that partzuf, you can extrapolate deeper inside. Partzufeim enam shavos. So what did Moshe Rabbeinu see? Did he see the chitzonius, the partzuf, or did he say deeper? So say the Sfarim that when Moshe Rabbeinu had nevuah at Har Sinai, when he had nevuah at Har Sinai, so what he saw, as Reb Tzadok explained last week, or as we explained to Reb Tzadok last week, that he came to a not a glass that you can see through, but a mirror. That was the pashtus of his nevuah, and all the Nevi'im came to this mirror, where they could see. Yaacov Avinu came to this mirror. He saw Dmusai chakuk al hakise. Yeshayahu says, "Reisi k'dmus ben adam." Why? Because you come and you see a mirror. So what kind of a deal is that? You go all the way up to the world of Bria and you get a mirror. The teretz is, but it wasn't a mirror of, imagine you look in the mirror and you'd see your neshama. Imagine you have such a mirror. Here, look in here. You see your neshama. It would be like the most gewaldige thing in the world, right? So Moshe Rabbeinu, in his nevuah, saw this mirror very clearly, but Moshe Rabbeinu had the whole Klal Yisrael behind him when he was looking in the mirror. So not only did he see his neshama, he saw everybody's neshama and understood the tachlis of everybody's neshama. So now he was sharing that nevuah with every single person. Oh, you're Shlomo. This is the tachlis of your. I saw your neshama. Met you at Sinai. I saw your neshama. I saw your neshama. I saw your neshama. So all the neshamas, he was able to see everybody's tachlis. I don't know if this is a function of memory or a function of kedusha. I don't know, but that seems to be what took place in this moment of. There was a moment of revelation with meeting Moshe Rabbeinu, who was able to see the neshama. So you go to a Navi, he's able to see your neshama. You go to a Chacham, he's able to extrapolate your neshama. Chazal told us, Chachmah Bina. You're better with a Chacham than with a Navi sometimes. But that's what they saw. So what we learned is that Ki'ilu, going into the world of Bria, you could see the neshama. So it was Ki'ilu a mirror. When Moshe Rabbeinu says Reb Tzadok came to this mirror, he was happy with it, but he was also frustrated with it because he wanted to see through the mirror. He wanted to see to the other side. Hareini na es panecha, hareini na es kvoidcha. Let me see through the mirror. Get rid of the silver lining on the mirror. I want to see through. I want to see the whole thing. I want to see the Atzilus. Lo yirani ha'adam v'chai, Hashem said. That this is not something which is doable, the highest you can go. Self kol self, like you can only, pirushi. A person can only be masig in this world, self kol self, what's in their world. In other words, people are basing. That's what we can understand and what we can be basing, what we can even imagine. What we can imagine is self kol self in our Daled Avos, a function of our experience, of our genetics, of the world that we live in. You can see what you can see. So the Navi, a tzaddik, the Navi has a bigger world and can see further. There's bigger, circles of vision. But beyond Bria has nothing to do with the Bria. Beyond the world of Bria has nothing to do with this world B'chlal. The Bria is where the world begins. So how can you see beyond Bria? That's beyond anybody's hasaga. There's nothing, you can't, the Gemara says it's silly to even think of it. Think about it, malah. It's even silly to think of it because it's not, like the famous mashal of Mesil Sisharm, it's like trying to explain to a person who's blind from birth, what's the difference between orange and yellow? It's not in his world, b'chlal. It's not in his world to understand color, to understand different colors. So that's something that could even possibly happen. So that's the big mirror that we have. So Im Kain, what was the difference between the nevuah of Moshe Rabbeinu and the nevuah of Shar Nevi'im? Everybody saw the mirror. So Chazal say the end of this story is that Moshe Rabbeinu saw Aspaklaria Hameirah, and Shar Nevi'im saw Aspaklaria V'Sheaino Meirah. Aspaklaria, Dr. Reber explained to us as a lens. I'm not sure if it's a lens, but it's a point of vision, meaning Aspaklaria, obviously from the words spectacle, specs, whatever the sherish is in Latin. Spec. But they, according, what did they see? Here's the question: what did they see? What did he see? We know that Moshe Rabbeinu l'chara couldn't see completely through. But he also saw a mirror. They saw a mirror. He saw a mirror. So how does it work? So it's a little bit confusing. But let's just read the Chumash for a second. Chumash explains this in Parshas Paloischa. Hashem spoke to Miriam and to Aaron. Called Miriam and Aaron after they spoke Lashon Hara by Moshe Rabbeinu. Tzu Shlit'a me'oil moed v'yetzu Shlit'am. V'yomer Hashem pitayim el Moshe v'el Aaron v'el Miriam. Tzu Shlit'a me'oil moed v'yetzu Shlit'am. Why do they have to go out of the oil moed? The three, you know. V'yered Hashem ba'amud anan v'yamoid pesach oil v'yikar Aaron u'Miriam v'yetzu shneim. So there was like sort of two Yitzios here. If you Moshe, Aaron, and Miriam, Tzu Shlit'a el oil moed. They went to the oil v'yetzu Shlit'am. They went out to the oil moed. Okay, they went in. V'yered Hashem ba'amud anan v'yamoid pesach oil v'yikar Aaron u'Miriam v'yetzu shneim. Just trying to keep track where everybody went here. this standing. Vayomer, and this is what Hashem said to Aaron and Miriam. Shimu nadvarai. Imiyad v'yachem Hashem b'marauh elav esvada b'chaloi b'daber bay. Generally speaking, Hashem said, gave a lesson in Hilchos Nevuah. Generally speaking, when there's Nevi'im, v'yachem Hashem, I speak to people, yes? So Hashem said, I speak to people. And I give a message to people. That's Nevi'im, Nevi'achem Hashem. But the way it works is, generally speaking, when I speak to people, it's b'marauh esvada b'chaloim adaber bay. Let's be very careful here. B'marauh elav esvada b'chaloim adaber bay. Loikein avdi Moshe b'chol beisi nemanhu pel pad daber bay. Mareh v'loy b'chidos. So it's really the same thing. He's saying to the Nevi'im, he's saying it's b'mareh lo v'esvada b'chaloy v'daber bay, that I'm speaking to him in a marauh. Whatever a marauh is. I'm appearing to him, right? And when it comes to the other, like when it comes to Moshe, pel peh adaber bo, I speak to him pel peh, u'mareh v'loy b'chidos. So it sounds like they both see the same thing, but the vuah of Shar Nevi'im is subject to interpretation. It's chidos. You have to work it out. It's like a dream. You need a pisroid chaloim. But Moshe Rabbeinu was mareh v'loy b'chidos, so he saw mareh, they saw mareh. Usmunas Hashem yabid. What's that? Usmunas Hashem yabid, and he somehow saw Usmunas Hashem. Rashi says, Shimonot Varai. Ein na elaloshin bakosha. Im yeh nevi'achem, im yu lachem nevi'im, if you'll find amongst the people nevi'im, b'mareh elav esvada, b'mareh elav esvada, meaning talking about the other nevi'im, right? Shechina shmi, says Rashi, ein niglois olav. Shechinas shmi, says Rashi, ein niglos olav. Aspaklaria Hameirah V'Sheaino Meirah. So Rashi is a makubal. Now suddenly, Shechina shmi ein niglas olav. What Shechina shmi does? What does it mean?
Shechina shmi.
Shechinas, the Shechina of my name. That's what it means. Now, what does it mean?
The essence of my.
Well, Shechina means specifically not the essence, but Shechina means that it's shochen. Presence. So the presence of my name, meaning my midos, different midos of Hashem, Elohim, Yudkei Vavkei, different midos of Hashem. Loy niglis, ein niglis alav, Aspaklaria Hameirah. They get it, but they don't get it completely. They don't get it Aspaklaria Hameirah. Hashem came Moshe, so that's called a marauh. Hashem came Moshe, mareh v'loy b'chidos, mareh is a mareh dibur, Rashi says. Shani mefarish loy diburi b'maris panim shabai. I don't tell him riddles. Cheskel got riddles. Yaacov mareh Shechina, maybe he saw already the whole mareh Shechina. Imkain, if this is confusing, it's good. We're trying to explain it. What's the pshat mareh Shechina? Yaacov mareh Shechina. Talmud Leimer says Rashi, Loisucha lirais espanai. So, mahu ra'ah, mahu lo ra'ah. It's not clear. It was mareh v'loi b'chidos. Yaacov says Rashi mareh Shechina. We just said that the nigla shchina shmi loy niglasi, that's the Shar Nevi'im. So now you must be the contradistinction is that Moshe Rabbeinu did see the shchinas shmi. So he says Yaacov mareh Shechina Talmud Leimer lo sucha lirais espanai. So Utmunas Hashem Yabit. So what's that? Says Rashi, that must mean Zem marauh achurayim. He saw from the back. In Shneimar Vari says Achorai upanai lo yiro. So what Rashi is dealing with here is basically three things. There is there seems to be a marauh of the Nevi'im. There's a marauh of Moshe Rabbeinu, and then there's Tmunas Hashem Yabit, which is some other madrega. So Rashi, if I'm understanding, if I'm collecting this data correctly, is that what the Nevi'im saw was achida. They saw something, but it was something which needed interpretation. Let's say something like we have a dream.
It was an obscured mareh Shechina Shmi.
Right, but it wasn't clear mareh Shechina. It was like a dream. Like a dream.
Yeah.
A dream, you wake up in the morning, what did I dream? Chalaim chalamti ve'eni yodei ma. Moshe Rabbeinu wasn't like a dream. Now, it doesn't mean he saw further or he saw deeper, but he saw more clearly. So that's what Rashi seems to say. So he saw the same maras Shechina, but it was the same thing, just it was clear. Words of Chazal, Aspaklaria Hameirah. Utmunas Hashem Yabit, Rias Acharayim. So what's that? What is the Rias Acharayim? Like he did see or didn't see?
The Haggadah says that the Bechoros and Mitzrayim saw mareh Shechina, right? Or even everyone saw
Yaacov, what?
I think everyone saw mareh Shechina in Mitzrayim. Doesn't it?
At the Yam.
The Yam? Yeah.
Ra Shifcha Layam. Mashallah, Ra Yecheskel ben Buzay.
Also darshan from what I'm sitting on.
Zu mareh Shechina. But you don't know what it is.
What?
We don't know what that is.
That's the one thing that we're saying that even Moshe Rabbeinu could not see. The Rashi says Moshe Rabbeinu could not see.
What's the lashon exactly? Zu mareh Shechina. There's a sefer. While he's looking, there's a sefer, fantastic sefer, one of the greatest contributions to contemporary Yadus is called Aspaklaria. You ever see that? It's not a sefer. It's I think 20 volumes. Encyclopedia. The Seder Aleph base from somebody in Switzerland, I believe. And it's just an amazing. The reason why nobody has it is because it's very expensive. He's starting to put it online. So every single sugya, so he collects the information on every single sugya. Fantastic thing. Aspaklaria, it's called. Aspaklaria, that's the name of the sefer. Every so I just want to read you this one page. I don't remember his name. Maybe Stern. I'm going to go a little backwards with just some ideas, but the most important idea is this: the Malbim, just Hebrew. The Malbim says, "B'marauh." B'marauh, let me read this is the bottom line of the Malbim. Yesh hevdel bein shem marauh b'komatz ubein shem marauh mareh b'segel. Gewaldig, right? Now what does it say there?
I was wrong. It's Gilui Shechina, not mareh Shechina.
No mareh at all. Very good. Okay. Hold your finger on the place. because we're going to Gilui is a different thing. So there's a difference between a mareh and a marauh. So once he said it, it's pasha. In modern Hebrew, what's a mareh? Mirror, like a re'i. Mar'ah. Okay, so forget about modern Hebrew. Mareh.
That's the way something looks.
A vision.
Appearance.
A vision.
Mareh Hashem.
Kimara Hashem Bahar. So it says the Malbim yesh hevdel ben shem mar'ah u ben shem mareh. Shem mar'ah hu re'i mimurat hanirsham by tzuras davar ha'omed nechai. A mar'ah is when you can see something mimurat, something which is opaque, and you can see the thing which is standing in front of it. Like, right? You can see in front of it. Vein haru'us overby. You can't see through it. So marah, as you say, is a mirror. Umareh b'saigol hu haschuchis sha'ois overis by. And a mareh is a glass which is not obstructed, so you can see straight through. Lirois hanimsa me'ever hasheni. So a mar'ah, Hebrew lesson, a mar'ah, as you say, is a mirror, and a mareh is a window. Simple enough. Now, let's just take a break for a second. Vayomer, and Hashem said, Shimu nadvara, im yeh nevi'ah, let's see if it works. Im yeh Hashem nevi'achem, Hashem b'mar'ah elav ezvada. When you talk about all the Nevi'im, it's in a marauh. Like in Avdi Moshe, Pel daber by mareh v'lo b'chidhais. Utmunas Hashem yavid. Beautiful?
So he does see a marauh.
He sees a mareh. A mareh.
So it's not the same.
Sees through.
But he doesn't see himself clear and...
So which is it? According to the Malbim. Everybody only sees a marauh. Let's get clear. Everybody only sees a marauh. That they see backwards. Moshe Rabbeinu saw a mareh.
Yeah. So how does he see himself?
Because you can see yourself in a window.
So what's
So his tooth is right.
But he can't see past a certain point because he can't live like seeing past that point. So
What does he see? Zarias Acharayim. Utmunas Hashem. Yeah, Utmunas Hashem.
So
What's a tmuna?
Representation.
A figure. Tmunas Hashem. Like you can see the Tmunas Hashem Yavid.
Like a silhouette. Just
Right.
partial.
You know, somebody you know very, very well. Like you can not only you can tell who they are from the back when they're walking, but you can even tell like what mood they're in. Right? You could even tell, what they're thinking in the way they walk from the back. Hamas? You see sometimes like, you see your wife walking from the back. Why are you angry at me?
And she said,
Hareini no aspanach. So it's okay. So fascinating Malbim. Just mamish meduyik in the Torah. Even Rashi's not oimid on this. So says the Malbim. I skipped a piece. Says the Malbim. That's the Malbim in Sefer HaKarmel. That's where he distinguishes between words. The Malbim has a dictionary called HaKarmel. That's what it's called, which is Shemois HaNirdafim B'Torah. That's the subtitle of the Carmel. Shemois HaNirdafim B'Torah. Why does the Torah sometimes use this word, and the Torah sometimes synonyms, and sometimes uses that word? So the Be Medayik in the Chumash, this is Hashem speaking. There's a mareh and a marauh. Beautiful. So now he says that's what he says in HaKarmel. And the Malbim in Bamidbar, Ala Makom, here in Parashas Baloischa, when he's talking to Miriam and Aaron, he says as follows: Bimar mar'ah. No, I know how to read this. Marauh ria Aspaklaria Hameirah V'Sheaino Meirah. Hameirah es ha'omed nicha v'loy ha'omed ma'achareha. I can see, so Aspaklaria V'Sheaino Meirah is when I can see, it's like a dirty window or an opaque window or like a mirror. I can see myself, but I can't see clearly through. Bank glass, bank glasses, when darkened windows. You can see out, you can't see in. Hashem could see you, but you can't really see me. Yesterday I was driving, I picked up my son at the airport, so I never realized I have darkened windows on my car. So he said, so I see everybody's just, waving, so I started going, whoop. So stop, he said, told me, with your windows, ta chayav liftoach et kulam. You have to keep the windows all open, security. Pam haba. Okay. That's it. He didn't shoot me or anything. He just didn't arrest me. He just told me that when you have darkened windows, you got to open them. So it says the Malbim. What's the taich? Take it a little bit further. Aspaklaria V'Sheaino Meirah. That's the Shar Nevi'im. Marauh es ha'omed nicha v'loy ha'omed me'achareha. I can see myself, but I can't see the other side. They could not see, says the Malbim, the Eloikus, outside of the natural boundary which exists for a Navi, which is the world of Bria, in my language. Gvul ha'olamais. Rak hamispashetes ba'olamais. The Malbim was obviously Abu Kubal. You could only see that from the world of Bria into our world, which is the Elokush, hamispashetes, which is spread out through the world that we see. That's what you can see. That's what you can see. That's seeing a lot. That's a lot, but you can't see beyond that. I say, we know we have Wi-Fi in our phones and our computers, but you can't see the Wi-Fi. But let's say if you're a Navi, you can see Aspaklaria, you can see the Wi-Fi also. You can see the waves. I don't know if you want to see them, but you can see them. But to see beyond that, that's already in the different ways on the world of Gashmis B'chlal. Gamei namaris hatsura atzma. They can't see Hashem. Kim tmunas mimena. V'chein yira neviim rak ma shehispalesh mehasagas alikus al koyach dimyoinam. They can only see that which HaKadosh Baruch Hu, only that which their imagination, so we're not talking about even Seichel any longer, which their imagination can imagine. Rak ma shehitpalesh. What's litpalesh?
Roll around in the mud.
Palash.
When something rolls around in the mud, they use the word mitpalesh, like the alternative.
To be enveloped in it?
Yeah. Like when you say about a pig that is in the mud, that's the lashon they use.
Okay. What do you say?
Invaders.
Invaders?
To be
Malicious too.
What's a mavui mefulash?
Let's go through. Oh, open-ended, both sides.
Mefulash.
Thoroughfare.
Thoroughfare. Thoroughfare. Mavui mefulash. Good word. So yechen yira neviim rak ma shehispalesh mehasagas alikus al koyach dimyonim. It's whatever HaKadosh Baruch Hu shot through, let go through, let be mefulash from the other side through, and which could be miskabel by their own imagination, by their own dimyon. So it's coming from the other side of the window, but it's only what my dimyon can be.
But is it their reflection that's being the thing that's absorbing what Hashem is being established through?
Kineret. So that's the lashon of the Zohar, which I want to read to you if we have another minute. Which is he says, Rosh Baruch Hu says that the Shar Nevi'im saw b'bchinas nukva, loy b'bchinas duchra. Right, and that's what you're saying, right? So nukva has everything to do with the makabel, and a little bit to do with the noise. But it's Mebechinas Nukva, I'm makabel what I'm makabel. I'm makabel what I'm makabel.
So that's why the mirror still is functional, even though it's Hashem shining from the other side. It's still their reflection that's receiving that which is coming from the other
Right.
side.
So Nukva is the pshat. Shasani kirtzoinoi. That's what Nekevas say. Meaning, this is even in the biological model, the isha is the mekabelas, and on the one hand, that's very finite. I always say, like a male is capable of having 6,000-7,000 children in a lifetime. A woman, 16, 17. There's a difference between chesed and gevura here, and the chesed dafka is bligvul. Chesed is bligvul. You have thousands of children. A male could have thousands of children. So shosani. On the other hand, there's a milo of an isha to a ish that something comes out of. like you're talking to have. You could actually have 16 children because a male by himself could have thousands of children. Has no children. So you need both kochos. So that's the shosani kirtzona. Shalo asani isha, b'china duchra. So it's interesting, by the way. So in Kabbalistic terms, the zachar is always chesed, and the isha is gvura, because gvura is that which gives a boundary. Unlike what everybody thinks that the man is the gibor, and the woman is the chesed. It's not that way. Women are much tougher than men. There's chesed and gvura. Like we grow up with that. Like you just wait till your father comes home. What happens when your father comes home? Nothing. Father's much more chilled out about it than the mother. But so we say karachem of albanim came to rachem Hashem aleinu. The chesed and rachamim, those are midas of an ish, of a man, not midas of a woman. Because a woman's job is to be makabel and to make something tachlis over here. Like let's actually make the child. Like you're just like, so that's chesed and gevurah. So the Nevi'im, the Shar Nevi'im was in a bechina of nuchva. It was in a bechina of nekeva. It's all about what they're makabel. Mashen Kain, the Mashen Kain HaKadosh Baruch Hu, in this case, is from the Keser giving to chesed. Chesed comes before gevurah. So it's back to the Malbim. Marauh, Yiru, what do the Nevi'im see? Aspaklaria Hameirah V'Sheaino Meirah, says the Malbim. It makes you want to learn every Malbim. Marauh, Yiru, Gam, es tzuras atzmam. What they will see is themselves. V'chein Nevi'im Yiru, machazois dimyoinam, or mechazus dimyoinam, heim hamisrashamim b'machazeh. Moshe Ra b'mareh b'segel. Moshe Rabbeinu saw something different. Sounds mareh. No, they saw mareh. He saw mareh haschuchis hashkufa. Shakuf. What's shakuf? Transparent. It's a little bit different than Reb Tzaddik, but I'll explain. But he's saying pshat, pirush b'mikra. V'royim by. He was able to see in it beli hachisroinoi stilael. There was no obstruction, which would force you to see yourself. Bali Musar all say, what's the difference between a window and a mirror? He says, just a little bit of silver, you can only see yourself. A little bit of kesef, and that's all you can see is yourself. So that was the kesef. That's a mirror. So Moshe Rabbeinu did not have to use his imagination at all, meaning it was not about what he was makabel, it was about, this is what it is. It is what it is. Ki ha'ein soif yusag rak hashgacha madois sichlis. Ki ha'ein, does anyone want to attempt to translate? Ki ha'ein soif, because infinity, yusag can be comprehended rak hashgacha Madois sichlis, only in an academic. In other words, we can understand infinity mathematically, but we can't really understand infinity. We can understand what it is, b'seichel. We understand infinity. Okay, does it end here? No, it goes further. but we can't really understand infinity because infinity is beyond our comprehension. So again, he's going back, I believe, on the Shar Nevi'im, that to be able to see through the glass would be to be masig infinity. So you can see infinity, but you can't really comprehend it. So this is Moshe Rabbeinu was in this madriga. Now let me show you something which I'm sure the Malbim knew, but I know because of the Sefer Aspaklaria, puts it all together, sort of. Comes the Zayar, who was a sign. The Zayar, as best as we can understand, we'll just get the words, just for fun. The Zayar says this Zayar is not here in Parshas Baloi, it's in Parshas Kiseitse. Amar Lai Raya Mehemna, Mar Kadosh. That was the way they talk. Amar Lai Raya Mehemna, Mar Kadosh Hinani Lahaski Fadvarim Shalcha. The Zayar says earlier that marauh, now that I know the difference, marauh is a Bina of Bina. What's Bina? This is not, it's not Kabbalah. Bina is, Chachmah is the wisdom itself, the Byte of data. And Bina is the extrapolation and what you can do with it. Mevin davar mitoich davar, Rashi says. Which again, Chachmah is a Bechina of Zachar. It is what it is. Of 1,000 kids. Bytes of information. And Bina is Bechina's Nukfa. This is what I'm going to do with that. Let's make a child. Something, fertilize. So that's the Bina. The earth is Bina. The rain is Chachmah. Marah hili yamin. Okay. What the Hakdama here is that Avraham. So Avraham had, if you look in the Chumash carefully, he had visions of Hashem before his bris milah, and he had visions of Hashem after bris milah. Completely different words are used. Only after the bris milah does it say Vayira Hashem al Avraham, Vayara Hashem al Avraham, Vayera Hashem al Avraham. All the shaynas of Re'iyah. Vayera, Parshas Vayera, Vayera Hashem al Avraham. It's only after the milah. There's no Riyah. There's Chazon. It's Chazon.
By the brisman Masarim, he said it Tardema, he fell into a deep sleep.
Yeah. So Avraham is Gematria Ramach, right? And it's also Gematria so let's learn the Zayar over here. Ata Marta Shemara hi Bina, Mara hi liyamin kitach shayv. Kitach shayv. Kitach shayv hagimatrio shel b'mareh shenemar ki b'marah elav esvada. That's talked about by Shar V'timsa shu ramach. So think about the gematria of marauh. So that's also ramach, which is the same as Avraham. Marauh, right, is ramach. With me? Marauh is ramach, and Avraham is ramach. And Ramach is Ramach. The marauh.
Ramaz. Ramah. Rishmem. Vav.
Bimara. Bimara. Timsa shu ramach, oila b'gematria Avraham. Shu chesed, shezariya shebimara hu chesed. Amrlei Amara Kadosh. So this was the answer in the Zohar. Mitchila nira l'cha marah hahush nemar b'marah lava svada. What he's saying is there's three madregas in Nevuah. There is mareh lava svada, which is regular Nevuah. Ve'achar amarta asura ve'eres hamara hagadol. That's bimara. Hashem talks about here that I show it to them marauh. That's ramach. When Moshe Rabbeinu was at the Sneh, it said asur na ve'era es marauh hagadol hazeh. So it says Rav Shimon Bar Yochai that don't confuse bimara with marauh. Marauh, shem marauh, the marauh. Saw something more. Shenisk Parabai says Azar chamesh pamim hasneh. In the Sneh it says 5 times marauh hagadol. And this is also part of the Gilui of Bimara is we have Ramach Mitzvah. That's a Gilui. In other words, what is the Marah of Hashem? Zooming back at us, that's the Ramach Mitzvahs. So, just out of time we could do it, but let me just say this, that it comes out there's 3 Madregas. There's the Madrega of Nevi'im, which is Bimara. There's the Madrega of the Sneh, which is Hamara. And there's the Madrega of Moshe Rabbeinu at Har Sinai, which is mareh. Which is a whole different, which also comes down to Ramach, interesting. But it's a higher Madrega, and the Madrega is, as he says, you can see through it. Comes the so the Orach Chaim, Gimel Madregas HaNevuah. Hadargas Hariya Zu Efshirak Lasiga Be'elyon Helyon Ba'atz Masoyrei. Hagam Shlois Yachas Alav Bitu Yat Samas. He goes through these 3 Madregas. So what we need to understand here is that there's actually 3 Madregas. The hard one, to sum it up, is the middle one. We can understand somewhat that Nevi'im see up to the Olam HaBriya, and they can see backwards their own Neshama and everybody else's Neshama. Gavaldik. They see within the world of Bria. We can understand what we can't understand, right? Panai lo yiro, lo yirani adam l'chai. That you can't see completely through the glass and see the highest level of that we understand also. There was the Madrega of the Sneh and the Madrega of Har Sinai. So we have, let's say, 4 Madregas really. One Madrega which nobody sees. There's another Madrega where every Navi sees. There's a Madrega where Moshe Rabbeinu saw at the Sneh, and then there's a Madrega Moshe Rabbeinu saw at Har Sinai. And it's all Shlit'a in the Verter. It's all there where he saw on Har Sinai even further, which was Aspaklaria Hameirah. So now this Aspaklaria Hameirah means I could see through, but I can't see through. So I can't see the Pnei Hashem, but I could see the marauh of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. I could see something I could see an image, I could see the silhouette, I could see a lot, but I can't see as much. So when Moshe Rabbeinu, when HaKadosh Baruch Hu was defining all this for Aaron and Miriam, so these were the definitions, according to the Zohar, that he said, that like you're all betushtash in your understanding of Nevi'im over here. You're one kind of a Navi. Moshe Rabbeinu at the Sneh was a second kind of a Navi. Marauh hagadol hazeh. And then there's mareh, which you can actually see something through. That's Avdi Moshe. Panim el panim adaber bo. And it comes out that the Dibur apparently is more clear in that. So we have the 3 Madregas, and then off to the side, which we have to learn on Monday, Mirz Hashem, is Chacham Adif Minavi. Somehow or another, a Chacham is Adif Minavi. Ruach HaKodesh is lower and it's higher. It's lower because you're not seeing anything. It's higher because the power of extrapolation, the Chacham, the Talmud Chacham, is even stronger than whatever limited amount that a person can see. There's no limit to our minds, to what we can understand, al-pi Bina.
It seems more concrete.
More concrete. And it's more real, and it's more... So we don't have Nevuah, but we have Ruach HaKodesh. Okay. Now they've given you that clarity.